Do you ever feel like your debt is some looming, shadowy figure that you can't quite face? Almost like it's a monster hiding under your proverbial financial bed, just out of sight, never out of mind, always there. I personally call it the debt monster. And the truth is, the longer that you avoid it, the scarier that monster becomes. It feeds on avoidance and shame and uncertainty. But here's the good news. That monster starts to shrink the moment you shine a light on it. And that light, it's clarity, it's honesty, it's naming what's really going on. Let's jump in. Welcome back to Pocket Changes, where we talk real stories, small steps, and finding clarity in your spending plan, all without the guilt trip. I'm Brett, and today we're going to be talking about what I believe is the hardest and yet most powerful part of any financial journey, facing your debt monster. So let me start by taking you back in my own personal story. I met my own debt monster when I was working for a nonprofit outside of the US. I wasn't buying flashy things or booking luxurious vacations. I was just trying to make ends meet. But because I had to fundraise my entire salary, money was always really tight. And slowly, as life happened, I started to lean on credit cards to fill in that gap. A computer stops working here, an unexpected flight home there, groceries, rent, essentials, and a global pandemic, always promising that I'd pay myself back and I'd pay it off next month. And then the month after that, and years went by. The balances grew on those credit cards, and so did the dread that I was experiencing. I'd open my banking app, and there was always that feeling of my heart in my throat, and I felt like I was trying to outrun something that I didn't dare look at. And fun fact, I'm not a good runner. But here's the thing, I wasn't exactly reckless with my money. I just never had a plan. I avoided facing it all because I was really afraid of what I was going to see. And I thought maybe if I just work a little bit harder or make just a little bit more money, it would all sort itself out. But unfortunately, it didn't magically fix itself, no matter how much I hoped or imagined that it would. And here's what doesn't get said enough in this conversation. Debt is emotional. It's not just numbers and interest rates, it's tied to survival, identity, stress, guilt, grief, and often shame. Every dollar of debt can feel like a failure, but it's not. It's just a reflection of a moment, of a season, or of a system that didn't support you. And carrying debt can be really isolating. You feel like everybody else has it figured out, like you're the only one failing. But you're not. You're just human. So many people have debt and never talk about it and never share that burden with anyone else. And it's important to remember that your debt does not define your worth or your intelligence. It just means that you're dealing with life the best way that you know how, given the skills that you have at your disposal, the way that millions of people around the world are. Avoiding it becomes a little bit like a coping mechanism. And like many coping mechanisms, it works until it doesn't. Now, for me, that shift came during a pretty ironic moment in my life. I had been asked to lead a workshop for graduating college students about finances. Yeah, me, the guy that was up to his eyeballs in credit card debt, but I had never told anybody about that. It was my dark secret. And being asked to lead this workshop felt like a really cruel cosmic joke. But that assignment forced me to face the reality that I'd been avoiding. I sat down, I opened every single account that I had, and I listed every balance, every interest rate, every minimum payment. It was overwhelming, but it was also the first time that I felt relief because I saw a path for the first time. I felt relief not because the numbers were good, they were very, very not good, but I finally knew. I finally had a starting point. And that moment didn't magically fix everything for me, but it did change something from the inside. It is what gave me clarity. It helped me separate fact from fear. So what does it actually mean to face your debt monster? It means logging into every single account that you have, be it a credit card, a loan, any line of credit. I want you to write down every single balance, interest rate, due date, and the minimum monthly payment of each one of those lines of credit. And finally, sit with those numbers. We're not fixing them, we're not planning, we're just simply seeing them. And that's the whole assignment. And yes, it might just be the hardest part of your financial journey, but it's also one of the most important parts because clarity gives you power. Today's not about solutions. Today, it's not about figuring out payoff strategies or calculating timelines or optimizing debt to equity ratios, whatever that might mean. Today is simply about noticing what is. Today is about realizing where we are. Today is about defining and mapping out our starting point. It's about shining a light on the debt monster that's been lurking in the shadows. Think of it kind of like turning on the lights of a really dark room that you've been afraid to enter. At first, your eyes are going to squint. It's going to be uncomfortable and disorienting. But once your eyes start to adjust, you're going to realize this isn't actually a monster. It's just a pile of things that you can sort through. Clarity is powerful, although not always fun or feel good. And facing your numbers is the beginning of that power. You can't make a plan if you don't know what you're up against. But once you do know, that monster starts to lose its teeth. There's no shame in having debt. There's no shame in not knowing everything. The shame only grows when we let it fester in the dark. But when we bring it out into the light, that's where transformation starts. Now I want to pause and talk about something real, the emotional side of all of this. If you're like me or many of the people that I've coached, this isn't just a list of debts that you've got in front of you. This is often wrapped up in your self-worth, your identity, maybe even trauma that you've experienced. You might have voices in your head start saying things somewhat like, how did I let this happen? Or why can't I just figure this out like everyone else? And I want to stop that line of questioning right there. You are not your debt. Your debt is a snapshot, a moment in time. And the fact that you're even watching this video means that you're thinking about facing your debt monster. And that already makes you braver than you think. And this step might feel like trying to write with your non-dominant hand. At the beginning, it'll feel a little awkward, frustrating, maybe even a little embarrassing. But with time, it gets easier. You get stronger, and soon it even becomes second nature. So when those tough emotions come up, fear, shame, regret, grief, try to meet them with curiosity instead of judgment. Questions like, where did this come from? What was I trying to solve in that moment? Who was I trying to be then? Approach yourself almost like you would with a friend, with grace, with understanding, with encouragement and kindness. That's what's going to make change sustainable. So in future videos, we'll explore practical strategies like the debt snowball and avalanche methods. We'll talk about how to pay off your debt in a way that works with your brain, your emotions, and your values. But today is simply about courage. Today is about taking that first scary, but oh so powerful step. So here's your challenge for today. Set a timer for 30 minutes, only 30 minutes. Once you've done that, get onto your computer or your phone with a notebook and a pen and list out every single debt that you have. Total amount, interest rate, payment due date, and minimum monthly payment. No judgment, no panic, just data, just the facts. Once you've done that, take a deep breath. You did it. The monster is smaller already. You're not in this alone. I'm walking with you, and so is this growing Pocket Changes community. People like you taking small, pocket-sized, but powerful steps towards financial clarity and peace. If this video helped you, go ahead and do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone else who might be overwhelmed with their own debt monster. And then jump back in, leave a comment below. How did facing your debt monster go? Or if you faced your debt monster long ago, what did that feel like? What did it look like? What surprised you? Until then, I'm going to see you in the next video, but remember, you've done the hardest part already.